Good morning, one and all. Welcome to another episode, a Monday episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and you look forward for a very productive week. Here we are with you again, as promised. We are trying to do twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. I indicated to you that every Monday is not yet confirmed, but we'll inform you as we go along. So welcome. Morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. I am conscious that we have people from all over the globe watching this very informative cast. So welcome one and all. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. You know, this is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. And let me tell you as we go, share the life. Some people still have not been up to date with the Monday. Man, by what you're gonna get fined for what came and say you almost forget Monday. I suspect you got the notification once the program went live. And that is why we encourage you to subscribe to the channel and follow the page on Facebook. And so if you forget, you are gonna get, once you turn on notification on your device, you're gonna get the notification when we go live. So yes, welcome one and all. Welcome. When the program was scheduled, person spent time in the schoolyard last night and waiting for the program to get started. Once the school gate was open, people rushed in, and once the school door was open, there was a mad rush to get into class. We want to hear the credible, accurate, timely information, and we will continue to give it to you, notwithstanding all the detractors. They send out the trolls, they come and they say all manner of things. You know, they're not addressing the issues, you know. When they come on to try to troll, they are not addressing the issues that we raise. They come and they try to distract you. They tell you you're ugly. They tell you all kind of craziness. But the topics that are being discussed seem so indisputable that they're not addressing that. So we welcome them. Let them come. And as I indicated, once they come and they get disrespectful and so on, it's a block right away. I ain't wasting time. This is no democracy. And if it's a democracy, it's a democracy Guyana style, not the real international style. So once you come and they come disrespectful and they cursing, some of them come, they use expletives and so on, you're getting blocked. I have no apologies for that. Go and form. If you want to curse, I understand there are other shows where they allow you to use expletives and to call people out and all that. So go there and do that. Not on this program. We are here to teach. And those who want to be educated, those who want to get credible information, this is a place for you, right? This is a place for you. Not for those who come, those cockroaches, those jagabats, those trench crappers, those amphibians. This is not the place for you. When you mention those names next year, you're going to make a complaint about cybercrime. What I say, they were emotionally disturbed and all of that. So I don't have time with them. We will continue to come and we will continue to bring you the valid, credible information. So share the live and let people know that we're here. My colleague is already in the studio, just waiting to get on. You know, every week you sit back during the programs, during the intervals, and you think about what you're going to speak about. And almost invariably, the things that you originally decided to speak on have to be put aside because other issues come up. And this morning we have had some of those. We're going to talk about them as the program goes on. So we're going to talk about them. But again, let me say, let's rejoice, give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. Let's give praise and thanks. You know, it was so heartrending to read the news about the flood in Iraq. I think the last figure they gave is that 11,300. Let me see what the figure. They say I think something like 11,300 bodies were recovered. My Lord, 11,300 bodies have been recovered, and it says 10,100 persons are still missing. So one can very well expect their toll to go up. What a disaster. What a disaster. And that's even more reason for those of us who wake and see the light to give praise and thanks to the Almighty to allowing us for being in this land of the living. And speaking about that, We have last week, I think it was, or either Wednesday or Monday, we did announce the passing of a former police rank. We said Michael Beard from Borbies had passed. And I have some information here in relation to his wake and funeral. They say wake will be on Thursday and Friday as at his residence, 266 Smithfield, New Amsterdam, Smithfield, New Amsterdam, and from 6:30 in the evening. And they say funeral service Saturday, September the 23rd. The service will be held at the Ebenezer Lutheran Church, 9 Theatre Alley and Strand, New Amsterdam. Viewing from 1:15. The service commences at 2 p.m. Burial will take place at the Stanley Town Cemetery. And they have a request that they said no photographs or videos will be allowed. So former member Beard will be laid to rest this Saturday for those people who are interested in paying the last respect. And that's the sad note, the death of all those persons in Libya. And, it's so sad. It's so sad. Now, let me say belated birthday greetings to a regular on this program, Carol. Carol Grandison Roberts recently celebrated a birthday. Happy belated birthday greetings to you, Carol. I know you're going to be on if you're not on as yet. I didn't do the roll call yet. Well, I know that you'll be on. And I also want to belated birthday greetings to staff of mine, a former staff of mine, Sonia Griffith Ward. Sons, a belated birthday greetings to you. Last week, Wednesday, I forgot to mention I forgot to do roll call. And of course, I was reminded that roll call is something very important. So before I forget again this week, let me give you the roll call. As I indicated, several persons were in the school yard overnight. Well, not several. Don't let me do like a certain attorney general and several. It's three. From the information, 3 persons. And I'll show you them. Joan was the first person in at 11:25 last night. Then Family Music was in at 11:31. Then Natasha was in at 11:52. And this morning, very early, Earl came in at 12:10. Leslie, welcome, Leslie. Leslie said mosquito net and pea shooter received info that the jealous people may want to disrupt class, right? Too much info sharing. Will not miss class anything. So Leslie was here early this morning. Then we have Wayne came in shortly after. Raul. And Raul says, all of you are student, Mr. Slow. He came back and he said here, he's at work. But class is equally important. He said this class is equally important. So he's here. Floyd came in too early. And you said what you said yard in the schoolyard, and you see what he says there. Then Jason, then Jacko from Georgia, formerly from Springlands. He's here now. Then Cecile Carlton came in, my squad mate, 9430, early in class. Isabella came in very early in the schoolyard. My countryman George Carlo was here early as well. He said, don't miss a class. I know this one, Patricia, don't ever miss a class. Then we have Everett from Texas is here. Wayne came back in. And Francis, the man from Melanie, came in this morning. And again, great program as per usual. You're looking forward to that. Anthony came in. Then we have Denise, Lucius. Welcome, Lucius. Lucius, don't miss it, Then we have Como from New Jersey here early this morning. Como came in at 7:10. Then we had Carville Carroll. Carville Carroll is a new man recently. Well, he started comment recently. And he's a squad mate of mine, 9390. A squad mate. So welcome, squad. Quite a few squad mates of mine are on the program. Then we have Princess, the one and only Princess from Lamar Springs was here. Felisa came in early in the morning. Early. She came in at 7:45. Melissa came in next. Then we had Samuel came in early. Duan came in. Brian was here. Joan all in class. Tessa is here. Don't miss. You don't ever miss. Tessa is here. John Cummins was here. 9:01 he came in this morning. And we have Monica came in at 9:04. Evelina came in after our Courtly Saul. Ulrich Well, Courtney says here he's from New Jersey. I told you people from all over. People from all over. Ulrich came in. Doreen, my squad mate from Canada. Doreen, thanks for the thing. Thanks for the thing, Doreen. Thanks very much. Charlene came in, not a regular. Wayne from the UK. Wayne is here. Gavin. Okay, what time? Gavin come 10, 12. Yeah, welcome, Gavin. Welcome. Then we had Gordon. Gordon, thank you too, Gordon. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Then we had Keelan, Marlin, Asa, Ingrid came in. She's conscientious viewer. Rohan don't miss out. Rohan don't ever miss out. He puts his name there, and he's always very respectful. Uncle Paul, Uncle CC. Welcome, Rohan. Then we have Johnny. Then Philip came in next from New Jersey. He's watching from New Jersey. Evelyn came in. She's also watching. Orin from the UK is here. Bart came in next after Orin. Then we have Brower, Michael from the islands. Lynette from Barbados. Barbados in the house. Then we have Danny, tall boy, Danny, 9732, I think it is, Danny. Old CID man, very effective and competent detective. Then Gladys came in. Vibert from the East Bank, and I said Vibert almost forget. And then he came in. And when we went live, the first Facebooker, Sherry, then we had Bentley, and we had the Facebookers, Carlton, welcome, Ronell, Carol, and they're all in. Joan is here, a lot of Facebookers, Pam is in again, Tessa, and all these Facebookers are here. So welcome one and all, As I've said, it is good. This is the Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and that you look forward to a very productive week this week. Now, let me move on. Well, I got to, for the cricket fans, I got to always mention CPL in the air. They're all taking advantage, but a lot of teams are talking about the Warriors. People saying this year is their year. Let's wait and see. They have had some good victories. Let's wait and see what will happen. The good thing for me as a cricket fan, you get some good cricket because you're having good scores. I was always concerned about the wicket at Providence. Over the years, it used to be very low and slow, and therefore, even though the matches were exciting, they were not high scoring. But now you're having 200 runs and a lot of runs scored, so things look good for the CPL. Well, I've been talking about CPL. Let me hold on. Let me show you all this, man. This I noticed this thing. CC and all, I want you to look at this, man. What the difference a year make? Look at this. Look at this. The picture on the right is a picture taken this year at CPL. You see the minister there. It look like his family. I know if it's his family. I look at the one at the left, by the one at the left, the former minister Dharamlal, surrounded by some indigenous youth, and at the back you got the president. You get, and let me go through it again for those of you who missed it. For the left, in that gray short, Arfat Kwalanda, then Bharat Jagdeo, and then after next to Bharat is Irfan Ali, the president. Then next to Irfan is Leon Johnson, and next to Leon Johnson is Stephen Jacobs. So that was either last year, the year before, I'm not sure. But this one to the right, the picture to the right, is one I see with the minister there, Bharat, I think is his name too. And he looked like he there with the family. So things have changed. Things look like they have changed. So yeah. So CPL is in the air. CPL this year seems to be a better year. And then, yesterday was the Asia Cup finals. What a disappointment. Asia Cup, Sri Lanka and India. The match started a bit late. Sri Lanka batting first. They were 16 for 6 and recovered to make 50. This is a 50 over a one-day international final. They made 50, and India lick off the runs with 10 wickets to spare. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think that must be the shortest ODI final ever. It lasted a total of 21.3 overs, both sides, the entire match. Last year, a total of 21.3 overs. So I sat down to view a good game, and that is what happened. And then we had Colrick, Jacko. I hope y'all had missed the South Africa and Australia game with Klassen. Oh man, that brutal 174. Brutal 174. I didn't miss a single ball, so I hope you did not miss it as well. And yeah, so we get cricket. And as I've said, well, before I bring in Mr. Conway, last week Friday, as I indicated, I keep you all up to date, we're going on. Last Friday, it was scheduled, this civil lawsuit against me that filed by Senior Superintendent, now Assistant Commissioner Karen Bash, was due to come up last week, Friday, before Justice Simul Morris Ramlal. And my lawyers informed me that the applicant is the lawyer representing Karim Bash. They have asked for the judge to be changed. They have asked for the judge to be changed. So there was no, Friday was to be the pretrial hearing. There was no pretrial hearing on Friday. So I'm sitting now and waiting to hear when the new date will be announced. The background to that, on the previous occasion, when the matter came up, the applicant was absent and the judge then awarded costs of $20,000 and instructed filing of statements and so by a particular date, which we complied with. But I don't know. So I'm waiting to hear what will be the outcome. So I got to keep you all updated. And then on Monday coming, the conspiracy to commit fraud trial against myself, Mr. Conway, and several retired officers and some serving officers. That is scheduled to commence in the Georgetown Magistrate Court 3 next week, Monday. I think it's 1 p.m. So that's one of the reasons I indicated to you that we are not likely to be every Monday because we have court commitments on some of the Mondays. Let me bring in CC. CC, welcome, Mr. Conway, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be in the land of the living. As you mentioned earlier, that sometimes we plan to discuss certain issues, but then events took place that caused us to have a change of course. But we ready and we willing to go. It's going to be very, very interesting today, as usual.
Yeah, as usual. And I noted too, I'm not talking about civil lawsuit and defamation of character and all of that. I noted that journalist Enrico Wilford, recently won a judgment against the National Communications Network, NCN, where the judge ordered that he be paid a total of approximately $7 million that he claimed is due. So that is good to see that these courts are making decisions based on the law. That is good to see. Courts are making decisions based on the law. And then the other issue that we wanted to discuss, we're gonna leave. Well, the one that we're gonna talk about now is this. Let me show the slide first. So let me take out CC and let me show the slide, and then we're gonna go into it. Let me see. Now this is the one that I believe that it was important for us to deal with this morning. This is, I read an article Gordon Mosley this morning. These are police vehicles from Guyana. And you can see written on the side of both vehicles is the word policia, which I understand in Spanish means police. So we have a situation now where police vehicles, vehicles belonging to the Guyana Police Force, has Spanish writing on the side. No English any longer, Spanish writing. And here what God Moses say, let me read it and then we're going to talk some more about it. The Guyana Police Force is still to officially explain its sudden and unannounced decision to have police vehicles emblazoned with the word policia, which in Spanish means police. Many police officers are unaware of the reason behind this decision, but one senior officer explained that he believes it is to cater for the country's growing Spanish population. And then Gordon says, it might serve well to remind the Guyana Police Force that Guyana's only Spanish-speaking neighbor has been claiming a large portion of Guyana's territory for over a century, and the matter has now even found itself before the international court. Guyana is an English speaking country, and the word police, that's POLICE, English police, is recognized globally in any language. So here we have a situation where Guyana police vehicles are now, I don't know how many, if it's the entire fleet, it would appear as though they're going to put the entire fleet in Spanish. And let me say this. Let me say this. I say, and I make the point, Guyana, our only Spanish-speaking neighbor is Venezuela. And Venezuela has a claim to two-thirds of Guyana for years, as garden said, for centuries. Two-thirds. They're claiming the whole of Essequibo. They say it belongs to them. The whole of Essequibo. And I don't know, I say, um, have they considered whether such a move, having government vehicles emblazoned in Spanish, might lend some amount of legitimacy to this claim that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela? That is what they're claiming. We understand they even teach that in school. And I want to know if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is aware of this. Is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs aware that Guyana police force is now putting Spanish, writing the word police in Spanish on the vehicles? Are they aware of this? And I've traveled quite a lot. And you go to New York, for example, a large Spanish speaking and other ethnic groups. I can't recall seeing any language other than English written on those vehicles. And I know that if wherever you go, in whatever language you see police or policia or whatever it is, you recognize as police. So why is there a need to put Spanish on the Guyana police force vehicles in an English-speaking country? In an English-speaking, Guyana is English-speaking, and there is it. They have Spanish in the thing. And Kevin is saying a correct thing, because it brings to mind that, I'm saying this, I'm saying this might very well be a treasonous act in light of the fact that Venezuela has a claim. And here, let me tell you something. This is not about politics. This is about our country. And if we sit back and allow this to continue, then cat gonna eat with dinner. All Guyanese should remember Dave Martin, not a blade of grass. And this, to me, is an affront to all Guyanese. I am mad about it. And I hope that people will rise up and make nice out of this nonsense. Whoever authorized this, whether it's the government, whether it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whether it's the Ministry of Home Affairs, whether it's the squat in the chair, people must be made to answer. Why is it necessary to write the Spanish word for police on police vehicles? And you would note, no English word is there. The English to police, POLIC, is not there. It's Spanish now. And we must sit back and allow that. I will hope that the people, the civil society, and everyone, as again I say, this is not about politics. This is about Guyana. This is about our patrimony. This is about our territory. This country has claimed, even though the matter is before the world court now, they have made all kind of objections and they've done all sort of things. And people will say, because of this claim, our development, the country's development, has been stymied over the years because investors were reluctant to come and to invest. And here you have the police force vehicle in Guyana now is being inspired. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to, let me bring in CC. CC, what is your take on this?
I'm shocked to the bone. And like you, I feel it is treasonous. I thought that the police had hit rock bottom, but they have gone even lower, gone very low. This is a English-speaking country, and I read a nonsense by the one who's weak down the left side that Guyana is traditionally English-speaking country. We are English-speaking country, and here's it in the city, the capital. You have police vehicles in Spanish. They're not at Ettering Bang. They're not at Kaikan. They're not at Yarakito. They're not at Morawano. In the city with the Spanish. For us, why they didn't get Portuguese and why they didn't get Dutch and why they didn't get the vehicles at in the Quarantine Region 6 written in Dutch or at Letem in Portuguese. It is shocking to the bone. Somebody gotta be crazy, or person gotta be crazy. Are we giving up Guyana? Not a blade of grass. Not a blade of grass. And then you put in Spanish. The only writing there is Spanish on our vehicle. Man, it's shocking. Somebody needs to be sent home. Somebody needs to be sent home. I really can. I'm really upset this morning. Normally, I'm a cool individual, but I'm upset to the bone to see an organization that I serve, that I give 39 years of service, and their police vehicle in Spanish. Man, Paul, give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yes, it's very upsetting. It is very, very upsetting. It is very upsetting. And somebody said the right thing. Why didn't ask right police in Chinese? Because you got a lot of Chinese in Guyana too. I can't understand the reasoning behind this, especially over especially because Venezuela, our only Spanish-speaking neighbor, has laid claim to two-thirds, the whole of Essequibo. They say it is theirs. And we sit down here now, and these jokers, these incompetent jokers that we have, wherever, whether it's police, whether it's the Ministry of Home Affairs, whether it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this is about Guyana. This is not about politics. This is about Guyana. And to see the police vehicles, Spanish, they didn't even get, even that would have been objectionable to have both languages. Spanish at the side of the police vehicle. And we're waiting to hear. But I've said again, this is not, they listen to they look at the messengers and they're not listening to the message. But I hope that this message, this particular message, forget about everything else, this particular message where people seems to be inclined to give away stuff or to cave in to this territorial demand. Because I recall some time ago, Vice President is alleged to have said that as part of the settlement, he was willing to cede a portion of Essequibo to Venezuela. That is on record. That is on record that he was willing to cede a portion of Venezuela, a portion of Essequibo to Venezuela to have the matter resolved. The thing went to court. The coalition government made steps, took it to court. The thing is working its way through court. And these incompetent people cannot see that acts like these can very well be interpreted to be lending legitimacy to this century-old claim by Venezuela. No Guyanese, no patriotic Guyanese, because you have a lot of them are not patriotic. No patriotic Guyanese, so sit back and allow this to go like this. None. We should come out and we should call on them for an explanation. According to the news item, they have been reaching out to the Minister of Home Affairs. Well, them people shy, they don't answer phone and speak to the mic. So reaching out to them ain't gonna make much be useful, except for the record to say that you reach out. You gotta catch them maybe at the sideline of some meeting and so on. Then they may be forced to make some comment. But look at this. Look at this again, according to Gordon. According to Gordon, many police officers are unaware of the reason behind this decision. But one senior officer explained that he believes it is to cater for the country's growing Spanish population. They have a growing Chinese population too. They have a growing Portuguese population too. And China and Brazil, our Portuguese neighbor, have not laid claims to our territory. But here it is, the only country that has laid claim, Venezuela, Spanish speaking, and that is what these jokers are doing. And CC, as you rightly said, is something very upsetting. I am very forceful in my presentations, as everyone will know. You are the calmer one, but as you said, This caused you to be upset, and it rightfully did. Everyone should be upset about this. Do you want to say anything more on this issue before we move on?
I, I'm so upset, Paul, that I want to behave like Ryan Crawford, but you're gonna block me, and I don't want to be blocked on this program.
Now, this is not a program for that type of behavior. Um, when we catch up, we can sit over a beer or some other more potent beverage and at the rum shop, and then we can express ourselves in the appropriate language. But you know what? We are better. We are better than that. We are better than that. But let me move on. Let me move on. Um, a few weeks ago, there was this issue with the people in Borbies, these cane cutters who were arrested, taken into custody. They eventually were charged, and their photographs, their mugshots, they were without shirt, they were stripped. That is what it is alleged. And that allegation is somewhat supported because the mugshots released by the police have them half naked. In other words, the mugshot is there, they have no shirt. It is reported in Starbuck News that when they reached out to the commander, he said that that is part of the profiling. That is what he's alleged to have said. That is part of the profiling. When we went to work and we said, the commander is talking about profiling. Apparently, the commander does not know profiling has been deemed to be illegal. You can't profile people unconstitutionally illegal. And we noted too that they are in the habit of picking up people, taking their photographs, taking fingerprints, and all kind of things, releasing the names of persons who are suspected to be involved in criminal activity. Listen to this carefully. Releasing the names of persons who are suspected to be involved. I know the protocol, the media protocol, clearly states, well, they may have changed that now. This one I'm talking about is the one that was put together with the assistance of the British government and the Guyana Press Association, where it was made clear that you are not going to release, as the police should not release the names of persons who are suspected to be involved in any criminal activity. When they are charged and they are put before the court, then the name and other information is going to be released. But now they're releasing the names willy-nilly. The only exception to that thing used to be if the person is wanted and diligent efforts were made to apprehend that person, and it was clear that the person was evading arrest, then you would have issued a wanted bulletin under those circumstances. But you have to make effort first to get the person. And once those efforts fail, then you can go to this step to say that this person is wanted by the police. But not so long now. That is no longer the thing. Releases are made, wanted bulletins are issued for persons whose address and names are known. No effort made to contact those persons. And now persons are arrested and not charged, and persons are suspected to be involved in some crime, suspected, mind you, and their names and addresses are issued, everything. And CC told me that it might be useful for us to let the public know what the Police Act, I think it's section 25 of the Police Act, says about taking photographs and taking fingerprints of persons who are lawfully held in custody. Fingerprints, photograph of persons lawfully held in custody. Let me get Mr. Conway to explain that to us. CC, have a go and try to educate the police. I try to educate the members of the public what section 25, I'm going to put it up in a short while, but what section 25 of the Police Act says about that subject. Please go ahead.
Um, Before I put it up, let me read it. I have the act before me. It says it shall be lawful for any member of the force to take and record for the purpose of identification any measurements, photographs, and fingerprint impressions of all persons who may from time to time be in lawful custody. And it goes on to say, provided that if such measurements, photographs, and fingerprints impressions are taken of a person who has not previously been convicted for any criminal offense, or such person is discharged or acquitted by a court, all records relating to such measurements, photographs, and fingerprints impression shall forthwith be destroyed or handed over to such person. And section 2 saying, any person who shall refuse to submit to the taking of recording of his measurements, photographs, and fingerprints impression shall be taken before a magistrate, after which, who, on being satisfied that such person is in lawful custody, shall make such order as he thinks fit, authorizing any member of the force to take the measurements, photographs, and fingerprints impression of such person. And they're saying, for the purpose of this section, a person shall be deemed to be in lawful custody when he is lawfully deemed at any police station in connection with the commission of any crime or offense within the meaning of section 2 of the Prevention of Crimes Act. What is Act is saying that you can take photographs, measurements, photographs, and fingerprint impression of persons who are lawfully in custody in relation to section 2 of the Prevention of Crimes Act. The procedure, as I know it, when you're investigating matter in relation to these crimes, and not traffic matters, in relation to crimes under the Prevention of Crimes Act, that you can take you take measurements, you take fingerprints, you take photographs. I know during the course of the day, I think form, I can't remember the form number. You write up the form and you put it in your case jacket. And when the person is charged, if the person is not charged, you give them back it or you destroy them. If the person is charged and placed before the court and is convicted, you send those forms to the Criminal Records Office for recording, so that when a person apply for a police clearance or as the case may be, they would search the records and say, yes, this one has 3 conviction or 4 conviction or 5 conviction, or there's no trace. But many times those forms are not sent to criminal records office. So a man might have 5 or 6 conviction, and lo and behold, you apply for police clearance and they say there is no trace. So, and even if when a man is charged before the court, the police will also apply to the criminal records office for his, what we call a conviction report form. So that when the magistrate convict him, you ask, say, does he have any conviction, previous conviction, and you will tender that document. So it's part of the recording under the when you're investigating matter, you take those photographs, you take those measurements. But if the person isn't charged, you have to destroy them or hand them over back to the person. And you not to publicize them across the social media because the person is arrested and you publicize them across the social media that the person has been arrested and then the person is in charge. As you said earlier, when the person is charged, then you release the name. But here's it, they're releasing this thing, and Borbis is the chief sinner. The traffic ranks and the patrol ranks, they're working with cell phone. Since they stop somebody, click, they take the cell phone, and I know they send it to where it's ever. They're not using body cameras anymore. The body cameras not working. It's happening in Georgetown. It happening in traffic offenses, and this thing is due when you're doing criminal investigation. You take the measurements, you take the photographs, you take the fingerprint impression, and if the person is not charged, you have to destroy those documents or you have to hand them over to the person. But we began haywire and we're doing things to the contrary.
Yeah, so and the thing about it, CC, I'm sure you're gonna agree with me. The problem is a lot of these people in positions, senior positions, people in other positions of importance, they don't know these things. They're not. Again, we talk about training. We talk about training. How can you just, as you said, taking people's picture for some traffic offense and all that? How can you do that? That can never be lawful. That can never be constitutional. The law is clear. And what Mr. Conway explained in Section 25 of the Police Act, Chapter 601. I thought I had it here, but he's not here. It is clear under what circumstances measurements, they call it, fingerprints and photographs can be taken. And as Mr. Conway rightly said, during the course of the investigation, if the person is not charged, you have to give the person back. You have to destroy it. The law says that you can't keep those things for no future reference. You cannot. The law does. It is illegal. The law does not permit that. And it's the same thing, something similar with the recent release of those vehicles, the number, and the name of the registered owner. Imagine a vehicle is found violating the speed limit. We spoke about it last week on this new road. All right, it would appear as though they have cameras, so you manage to get the license plate. You manage to get the time, the time. And they are publishing the name of the registered owner of those vehicles. And in many cases, because they have companies that they publish, the registered owner is not the driver. The registered owner is not the driver. And the law provides for a process. The Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act is clear. In a case like that, you have to serve a notice of identity on the registered owner of the vehicle. And then he is compelled by law to provide the name and address and other information of the person who would have been driving the vehicle at that particular time. So unless you change the law, that is what happens. In New York, you got a speeding ticket or a ticket for running the traffic light or speeding, especially in certain zones. The ticket is sent to the name, to the address of the registered owner. The ticket is sent. But because they cannot confirm who was driving the vehicle at the time, no point is deducted or added to the person's driver's license. So the registered owner has a responsibility because the law accommodates that. So if your vehicle run through a traffic light in New York, they send the picture, they send the ticket, and you are to pay by a particular time. And as I indicated, we said before too, a traffic ticket is a conditional summon. You can go and you can contest it. The date's supposed to be there. So you can go and contest the traffic ticket to say that are wrong or something like that. But you cannot penalize the registered owner, as in the case where they're doing, they're publishing the name of the registered owner without verifying who was driving the vehicle at that time. So these are some of the problems, infringement of persons' rights. And because of what transpired in Barbies with those Sugar Rock workers, I saw the Guyana Human Rights Association wrote a very scathing letter condemning the police for this act, and they say it's a violation of a person's constitutional right to privacy and all of that. Because the people say they have to strip. Now, what is the purpose? Persons are arrested, they were protesting. You're alleging that they committed an act, including they say they committed the terrorism act, acts of terrorism. All right, you arrest them, nothing is wrong if they're behaving or breaking the law. But what is the reason for stripping them and having them in custody and then taking out their photograph with them half naked? So all those photographs that they published, nobody wore any shirt. And don't tell me it's because they were arrested like that. Don't tell me. The commander says profiling. So all of these things are wrong. And all of these things, if you're going to talk about police reform, if you're going to want cooperation from people to assist you in solving crime and making the law easier to enforce, these things are going to mitigate against you. When people see these things, people are outraged. A lot of people are fearful of speaking because they're going to be victimized. But the Human Rights Association, the world is seeing that because the people wrote a scathing letter published sometime last week, I think it was. So I really can't understand what is going on in this organization called the Guyana Police Force, which we both served for all of these years. And we noted that all of these atrocities have been being committed more frequently in the past 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years. And because the people are not made to answer for these things. People are not made to answer. People cover up for them. They are covering up. So, Mr. Conway, you want to say anything more on that particular issue before we move on?
Yeah, and then just getting back to those return that they posted, in terms of the persons that they caught speeding. One person 69 times, some person 50 something times. Not one of them was prosecuted. And they're not doing deeper analysis. They're saying that the cameras will replace boots on the ground. Coming out of their officers' conference, they said the president said so, that the cameras would replace boots on the ground. But they're not doing deeper analysis. They give us all the figures about the speeding, talking about and the registered owner of those vehicles. And not one report after 3 months of a minor, a damage, a serious or a fatal accident on the roadway that they be monitoring. Not one they reported a minor, a damage, a serious, and a so they need to have their focus elsewhere. Then they need to focus holistically, not only on speeding. And to repeat what you're saying, right? They're violating people's human rights. The commander said they're profiling and they're profiling, strip people to the bare shorts, and then plaster the photographs across the social media for us people and soon. I tell people start take them in hand and sue them. That is nonsense must stop. This illegality must stop. And if they want to build public confidence in the police force, they have to find ways and means of trying to get people to have public confidence. If you're profiling, you don't get confidence. That's why they can't solve crime, because in Borbis, because they get people with ears who ain't hearing, people with eyes who ain't seeing, people with tongues who ain't speaking, people with nose who ain't smelling. So nobody ain't coming to the police and say they hear this and they see this, and as the case may be, because of the actions of the police, there is very, very little public confidence in the police force, and it's because of the police their actions that is causing this thing to them. They can't solve crime because people ain't coming forward. What do you say come forward and tell the police? Because the people hear that it's Conway says so. The confidentiality gone through the window. The confidentiality is like the RAS report.
Right, and you say, it's sad. It's really sad. But let me show you, as we talk about the accident, let me show you a couple of clips, and then we're going to talk about it. But before I show the clip, let me tell you some reports. Only yesterday again, we learned of, and I'm going to show clips of it so you can see for yourself, we learned that a 9-year-old boy struck and killed by a teenager who stole his father's car. The report is that the teenager stole the father's car, driving down some road. This 9-year-old boy going to school, stopped to tie his shoelaces, and he was struck and killed yesterday, Sunday. Then we had last week the government pathologist and 3 staff members, that is Dr. Niall Singh, and 3 staff members are injured in an accident on the Essequibo coast. And when you read the release of that, that is basically what they said. But from investigation, I understand that the vehicle involved was a police vehicle and was driven by a senior police rank. That is what is reported. That is what, well, not their report. That is what the information says. That a police vehicle, which is not unusual because the pathologist has to go there to perform PM. I know it is a practice for the police vehicle to assist with transportation, but they're saying in this case, this is a police vehicle involved, and the vehicle was being driven by a police inspector. That is what it is alleged, a police inspector. But they're not going to tell you that. I have not seen that, right? I have not seen that. And then they get, this is a classic one. The tree art after car crashes into Eccles Bosch roundabout. That is by the dump site roundabout. This new fancy roundabout with this nice Jaguar and so on. I am in another group where when this thing was all this ceremony to open it, men had bets as to how soon, how long it will take before somebody crash into this thing. And in almost, it took only about 2 weeks for persons to crash in to this roundabout. And let me show you this video, man. Let me show you. And then we're gonna do some more talking about this first one here. Old boy. Let me the trench. And then this one here now. This one is the roundabout.
Put them on the side, I get it. Put him on the side,
Alright, so this is what we know. The car was making its way along this line, approaching the new roundabout that was commissioned a couple weeks ago. The speed at which he was coming, he failed to yield here, shot straight across here. I'm gonna walk to give you an idea of what happened. You can see the tracks at which he hit here, straight up here, and then slammed into that fountain there. The damage out here, the tracks he cleared, this almost 3-foot guttering. That's the vehicle it slammed into there. All of the damage caused by there.
Folks, that is what that one. The last one there is at this roundabout, this new roundabout. And let me say this. Before you look at the video carefully, you would see a policeman directing traffic at the roundabout. And I have to ask the question, why is a policeman at the roundabout directing traffic? This issue was discussed on this program before. People were asking why policemen are directing traffic where they were working traffic lights. And we said traffic lights are not efficient. Traffic lights are put there for effectiveness. And I explained, and let me explain again, the difference with efficiency and effectiveness. They are effective in that you have the colors, red, amber, and green. So you know the green light, you go. Amber light, you prepare to stop when you stop. And then the red light, you stop. But the issue with the traffic light is that, especially at peak time, you have the light, you're traveling in a particular direction and the light is red. So therefore, it says that you should stop. But the other side that is green, nothing is coming. But even though nothing is coming, you have to stop and wait. So it is not efficient, it is effective. Whereas, in that case, I fully agree that you can have traffic ranks during peak hours, to make sure that they override that red light in many cases, most cases the red light, and to keep the traffic flowing. That makes sense. But to put traffic ranks at roundabouts, because roundabouts are designed for efficiency. Nobody stops because of any light. You come and the rule is that you yield to traffic on your right. So you yield traffic right and you move. You leave traffic right and you move. But part of the problem that we have in Guyana, because we have an indisciplined driving public, we have very indisciplined driving public. So people don't, and a lot of people don't even know these basic rules. They don't even know these basic rules, how to use a roundabout. So police have to now go in a roundabout. That thing is so stupid. I have traveled all over and I have seen roundabouts. It's the first time I see police in a roundabout directing traffic. Barbados is known for roundabouts. Trinidad get what they say was supposed to be one of the largest roundabouts. The UK roundabouts galore. I have never seen traffic ranks directing traffic in a roundabout. But Guyana is Guyana. Guyana is Guyana. But I don't think it is the best use of your resource. I can't see that being the best use of your resource. So, and the traffic, they got a new traffic chief, and I think he is anxious to make an impression, and therefore here about 1,000 cases made in 3 days and so on. I asked the question again. To say that cases are made is nice. Public relation, PR, propaganda. Yeah. What is the outcome of those cases? If tickets are issued, what happened to the tickets? And I have said, and I dare them to challenge me, that the ticket system has broken down. There is no ticket. When a person is issued with a ticket, a man commented there last week, he said he get a ticket and he waiting for what's the next process because he wants to contest it. But as I indicated, a ticket is a conditional summon. So when a ticket is issued, the date of the offense, the particular offense and the section that is violated is supposed to be issued on the ticket. If you agree to the allegation that you jump a major road or you do anything, whatever is alleged on the ticket, then you go to the court office, the clerk of court office in whichever district, and you pay the ticket. You pay. Now, when the ticket is written, the date for you to appear in court to challenge that is also supposed to be stated. And herein lies the issue, because they have to have an arrangement which allows for the police and the system to know that this ticket is paid or this ticket is not paid. And that is what is the breakdown. I asked about traffic magistrate. Is there a traffic magistrate? I said the last one I knew of was Fitzgerald Young. Somebody remarked that years ago, you had a lady that was so feared. I think she was an Indian national, Krishna Vinichinta. Nobody wanted to commit any traffic offense because if you were taken before her and you're found guilty, you were your license would have been suspended, or you were disqualified, not suspended. You were disqualified from holding or obtaining for a period of time. All of those things. So if you really want to address this traffic situation, all of those things. So you jump up and you say 1,000 cases made. Were those ticket cases? Were those cases that were charged to go to court? If so, what is the outcome of those cases? How many persons charged? How many persons paid the ticket? How many persons are scheduled to appear before the magistrate to answer to the charge? So people come and they make all these statements, and the traffic chief is new, and I don't believe he's fully aware of all of these things. But do your research and make sure that the system, because it's a system, it's not just issuing the ticket, it is a system. Ticket is only a part of the system. Records have to be maintained at the station. Case jackets have to be made to go before the magistrate at the date when the person is supposed to appear. All of these things. But they jump and they make all sorts of noise. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to obviously. See?
Just to add to the ticket situation, 1,000 tickets, magistrate don't do ex parte trials. The only thing is that a man get a ticket, pay a fine within 14 days. He didn't pay it. The matter goes before the magistrate. The man isn't guilty. Some police have to go and give ex parte evidence there before the court so that the person could be convicted. Not because he didn't pay the fine and the matter comes up. Somebody has to go and give the evidence, and there's hardly any ex parte trial for tickets. Thousands of tickets, and there's no real ex parte trial to clear the backlog. And the fear isn't there, man. Say, yeah, me pay no ticket, the matter done. Fear is the key. I remember reading Alistair McLean book, Fear is the Key. I think they had a picture there. Fear is the key. And the fear isn't there that I issue a ticket, fear of being convicted, and in most other offense, fear of my driver's license being for me being disqualified, or in the causing death on dangerous driving, fear that I would be suspended during the trial. The thing is that you're clogging up the court. You have very, very few magistrates, I hope I know, because of the the Judicial Service Commission come into play now that they'll appoint more magistrates, but the court is being clogged up and people hardly paying any ticket fine, and it goes before the court there, and there's no ex parte trial or very few ex parte trial so that you can get a conviction and a warrant could be issued for the person, and then the police would go where they call a warrant drive and execute the warrant. It's either you pay up the fine or you go to jail.
Yeah, and I hope they're listening. Well, we know that they're listening, and not only listen, but they got to put measures in place to address this thing. Well, let me encourage all our view again, class, Monday class. I can't tell them, I even see peoples in the Monday class, a lot of students in the class. We welcome you. We hope that you are learning. We hope that you are learning. We hope that we are passing on credible, valid information. But continue to share the live, continue to share, let people know, because I suspect that the Monday thing is still new to a lot of people. They tune in to Wednesdays, and Monday is still new. This is only the second Monday, so they might be caught off guard. Before we moving to the next thing, share the live, share the live. We got a lot of other posters joining all the time. Joining, I see a man made a statement here about where people have to go to pay half the ticket. So there's a business place where you can go and pay half of whatever ticket you receive. That is the new police headquarters. That is an allegation made by someone. Again, that brings us to the point that the elephant in the room, the sixth C, is not being addressed, corruption. And unless I maintain, you can do all you want to do. You can issue all the tickets you want to issue. You can make all the noise that you want to make. Unless that elephant is addressed, unless that elephant is tamed, the sixth C, which is corruption, you aren't making any significant progress. Trust me, you are not going to make any significant progress. Because if you issue 1,000 tickets, perhaps if the system was clean, you might have been able to issue 2,000. And as I've said, tickets are issued. What happens next? So continue to share the live. And let me move on to another issue that came up over this weekend. This place, as I say, is not a real place. I read in I read in one of the newspaper recently. The headline says, travel agency rob of $1.6 million, guns and ammunition. And excerpts from that thing says, well, of course, police arrest two men who subsequently admitted to breaking into the office of David Street Kitty Travel Agency and carting off a safe containing 6 firearms, a quantity of ammunition, and $1.6 million on Saturday. That's 2 days ago, Saturday. It goes on to say in custody are, and that's what we're talking about before, the names of the persons here, the names are, I'm not going to call the name, but the names are listed in this article. And then it said the men were accused of breaking into SkyWest and Alpha's Total Solutions Inc. office. And at this part, listen carefully. They reportedly stole a safe containing 2 12-gauge shotguns, 1.32 pistol, 2 AR rifles, and 1 Glock 9mm pistol. A total of $1.6 million in cash was stolen as well. The items belong to, they'll get the name, I'm going to call the name, a 40-year-old businessman. All of the firearms are licensed. They're going to say, investigations question the men, and they both confessed to their roles in the robbery that occurred about 2:40 Saturday. The 3 other suspects have been identified as, and they get the name. They have the names of the suspect. And as we said, I'm not going to call it because I know that is wrong. You should not be given the names of suspects like that. But there are several questions that arose from reading this article. Several. And the first thing that I want to know, what a travel agency is doing with 6 firearms, including 2 rifles, AR rifles. And in case you don't know, that is considered, that is the weapon of choice for these gun crimes in the States. AR rifles in a safe, and the people were able to remove the safe from the building. So the safe wasn't secured in itself. And I know And I'm sure Mr. Conway is going to support me on this, because that used to be the practice. That when you have these things, if you are entitled to it, I can't see how this man is entitled to having 6 guns and no proper security. You had some watchman who they tie up and they broke into the building and they carry away the safe with all of these guns. So obviously the safe itself wasn't secured as is required. Safes are to be secured either in concrete or bolted to some wall and all that. But it is clear that in this case, that did not happen. So therefore, the people were able to carry away this thing. And I understand from reading some other article, the people said that once they discovered, it was clear they didn't intend to steal firearms. Somewhere else I saw that, I think, that once they went and they opened the safe and they see that was gone, they panicked. And they just dashed the safe overboard someplace. So I hope those things are recovered. And I hope they will investigate what caused, what is the reason for this person, this 40-year-old businessman, they said, to have that many guns, not properly secured. Don't tell me beneath the safe, because the safe is supposed to be secured to a wall or secured in concrete. That is how I know it all over the years as a police commander and person who have to supervise this process. You have to inspect. So if the people get firearm, you have to go and inspect to make sure that they add the facility to properly secure this firearm. But this is where we have. That is where we have. Guns again, too many guns in the tongue. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his comment. CC.
Yeah, the
what is your take on this?
The Private Security Act perhaps has gone through the window. Well, I know it is a security service. We talk about travel agency. And what travel agency doing with all those weapons? What they doing with that? And no form of security. They're a caretaker. And as you rightly mentioned, Paul, the safe service concrete supposed to be embedded in the concrete or properly bolted on to the wall. And before the man gets a weapon, the police has got to go and examine. If we give you the weapon, where are you going to secure it? Let me find your means of security. Where are we going to secure? And I wonder how big was the safe that could hold uh, the rifles and the shotgun. And then, according to the report I read, they put the safe on a trolley and then put it in a car. So maybe it's a safe that to just hold a couple dollars or a small arm. That sometimes the weapons weren't in no safe. Sometimes those weapons can't fit in no safe. They need to do proper investigation. And by now, the person, the license fireholder, should have been given a letter to show cause why his firearm shouldn't be revoked. The whole thing is bare a slackness going on in the place. People getting weapons too easily, and people getting high power weapons too, and people getting weapons that they don't deserve, and maybe no proper thorough investigation is being done, and the Private Security Act is operating in a breach all the time. We spoke about it several sessions ago, that the Private Security Act is in total breach. Or maybe the person maybe they call the person, say, by this thing is trouble, you better left something with me, and another elephant in the room, Paul.
Well, it's sad. Again, you see these things likely to find themselves in the wrong hands. If you recall, I think it was this year or earlier last year. Last year, I think it was late. A security company in Carmichael Street, I think it was, had all of those firearms stolen. Up to now, I think initially some were recovered, and up to now, there is no report, no update as to what has happened to the remainder firearms, whether this company still has firearms. So that is what we have. That is what we have. Excuse me. And then we have one here, again, another murder. Police probing beaten to death of a Linden woman. They sad over some $500. People, some reputed husband or husband, some spouse, beat her and she subsequently died. Another murder you have. And then you had another big robbery in New Amsterdam, where it is reported that the Region 6 office robbed of $50 million like sometime last week one of the suspects shot dead. That is what was reported. Again, $50 million in an office that is robbed. What type of security do you have? Why should you have $50 million in an office? Why? In this modern day. So the temptation is there. The system is broken. And once the system is broken, these things are going to happen. These things are going to happen. You have $50 million in a region office. $50 million. People went to rob it. They say one man shot and killed. One man shot and killed. So that is what you have. A lot of issues that they are not looking at. So nobody's going to check to see what type of security they had for the $50 million. What type of security they had at this travel agency that had 6 firearms in a safe, and the people were able to take away the safe, right? People were able to take away the safe. Somebody saying the $15 million been in a suitcase. That is what somebody is saying, that the $15 million was in a suitcase. And then we have CC as let me see what is the next matter that we got to talk. You know, as we said, on these Mondays and Wednesdays, we used to go 2-3 hours. We have made a promise. We ain't going longer than perhaps 1.5 hours for these classes, and then we're gonna reel and come again. But I noted over the weekend too a statement in the newspaper that the cybercrime charge against Member of Parliament Sharon Duncan was dismissed by the magistrate at the Diamond Magistrate Court. CC, you saw that? What are your views on that?
I saw it and I read, and it said that insufficient evidence. I'm not certain what evidence they should have produced, or what evidence they produced, and there's some evidence that they did not produce. But you know, this cybercrime thing is a whole joke. That was a result of a dog whistle. That was a result of a dog whistle and the rush and the charge. The thing is that if you're going to present cases, you have to get the evidence in support of the charge. And the thing is that I think it's a major crime in their investigation. And watch where the matter finish. The matter finish at no case submission. That is when the prosecutor said, "This is my case. I brought all my witnesses. I've tendered all my evidence, and this is my case." And lo and behold, the magistrate said, "Well, you have insufficient evidence." What is going on? Is there no checks and balances? Persons not checking those files? We have the crime chief is an attorney at law. We saw recently the police legal advisor has been promoted to the senior police legal advisor. People don't check those files. But you see, when politics come into play, all the things will happen. That there must be a barrier between political decisions and law enforcement. And I'm sure that charge was politically motivated, that they didn't have the evidence, as the magistrate said, they had insufficient evidence. Nobody checking and see, hey, by this, we have enough evidence, clear up this point, clear up that point, clear up the other point there. One under the rush with breakneck speed to charge the person, and lo and behold, insufficient evidence. And not only that, there's a major crime. Suko charging a whole set of people, and all the cases that went to trial finish at no case submission level, at no case for the defendant or the accused to answer. When the prosecutor brought all the witnesses, produced all the evidence, the documentary, and the other events. So there's what happening. So I'm surprised, and many more will follow. And I think it was the same Cybercrime Act that the Attorney General said he's going to repeal. Perhaps Paul, you know more about that.
Well, you know, you're right. Let me, the thing against Sharon Duncan. Sharon Duncan is alleged to have called this guy from GCOM. I think Giddens is the name. a Jagabat and a Chench Crapo. And on the basis of that, and it is said that he's alleged to have called him that on his program in the ring, very popular program. So he made those remarks, calling him a Jagabat and a Chench Crapo. And as he rightly said, CID headquarters, my understanding, my information, Duncan had to report today, put on bail, charge and pays before the court. And this is some time ago, this is not, sometime last year, I think it was. When the matter is presented, the no case submission, the case gone overboard. Man freed on no case submission because, as one of the students is saying here, these things are happen because these charges, trumped up charges, are instituted on the BS of the politicians. So the only reason Sir Duncan is charged with something like that is because he's a member of parliament, opposition member of parliament, and is seen as a thorn in the side of the government. But we know you call a man a name, Jagabat, Trench Crapo, and all this other thing. If you call a man a false name, how can that rise to that level of criminality? I know, because I'm from the countries, everybody had a false name. Everybody, well, not everybody, because I never had one. Most people had a false name. And false name is something, it's when you take it on. People will try to call you something, but if you ignore it, or if you have a proper retort, then they just back off. They back off. People go to the station, they make a report that they were called a false name. The police will warn the person to desist from such behavior. And if they continue, then you might either advise private action or you bring a charge calling a person a name other than his own, and a summary, a minor offense, you're charging for provoking the breach of the peace, and that's it. But now it's cybercrime. Now it is cybercrime. You call somebody a switch, cybercrime. And the same law, and let me read a part. I love this research thing. December 19, it was said, one of the, I think it was Starbrook News, article in December 19, 2022. Caption, Cybercrime Act to be repealed. And that is what they quoted by the current Attorney General are saying. And they quote, let me read a little bit. They say, having strongly objected to the current controversial Cybercrime Act when it was in opposition, government says that plans are in the works to have it repealed, and it will be replaced by a modern act formed out of recommendations of the United Nations Convention on Countering the Use of Information and Communication Technologies for Criminal Purposes. Then Nandlal is quoted as saying, it will be a model cybercrime bill for the CARICOM region. That bill will meet modern international standards. It is the UN that is setting that example. So nobody can fault us. This one will be repealed. And then he says, this will be repealed to provide for the modern updated cybercrime bill, which is currently being worked on at the level of an ad hoc committee established by the United Nations. This is December 2020. Be almost a year. And they're still bringing crime charges against people for the most trivial of things. You see how it goes? And this, look who they're charging for cybercrime, Look who they're charging for cybercrime. They're charging people who are either opposition or believed to be supporters of the opposition. You make a statement, charge. Just so they can tell me that this program, because we speaking the truth and we calling out some people, we see a man squatting, he gonna go complain that he was emotionally disturbed, and they're gonna bring cybercrime charge against Slow and Canny. Well, let it come, man. Let it come. Let it come. That is what is happening. They have weaponized the police. They have weaponized this act. And somebody communicated with me over the weekend and said that the APNU AFC government is to be blamed. Because when this act was proposed, they were, even the opposition, as we said, the PPP at the time, they were strong objections. And I think they only removed one clause or one section from the act, and it passed. They used the majority and they passed it. Now this is being weaponized. I don't think the AFC, or let me put it this way, let me be more politically correct. I don't think that the police, during the tenure of the AFC plus AFC, government brought a single cybercrime charge against anyone. Check the records. But now, since this government came into think cybercrime, man, like sweetie, everybody say you said something, cybercrime. Somebody say you switch, cybercrime. Somebody say it's a church crap with Jagabat, cybercrime. Some man make some parliamentarian. There's a parliamentarian, I think, Anne Ferguson is still before court with some cybercrime charge where she is alleged to have made some false statement against the current chief of staff. And the man say he was emotionally disturbed by that statement made by a member of parliament, pulling cybercrime charge. That is what is happening. So I'm not surprised when these charges are dismissed, because the whole purpose or the whole reason that they are brought is to satisfy a political end. And once you do that, then there's no evidence. And again, I ask the question, don't these files with all the statements pass through people? Well, you said earlier, you said the crime chief is a liar, but I suspect at the time when this thing was done, he would not have been a liar. So perhaps you can forgive him then. We have police legal advisor. You got the DPP's chambers. You have the DPP's chambers. And I suspect that they are signing off on these charges. Even if they don't sign off, even if, for say, police bring this charge against the people, once these things are publicized, where the DPP can review these charges and recognize that there's no evidence to have these people convicted, you have to go to court. And that is part of the plan. That is part of the whole thing. Carry it before the court. You have to retain lawyer. You have to spend a lot of money. You have to find bail. You have to be running up and down, up and down. That is part of it. To try to make you broke. That is part of the plan. That is part of the plan. At the end of the day, some people say sue them and all that. At the end of the day, you're going to sue. And what happens? What happens? You go before the thing, some judge going to award you a 10,000 US, there's 2 million Guyana or some insignificant sum. And that is the problem that you have. That is the problem. See, we almost finished 1.5 hours. We had a few more things to talk about, but I think we got to leave those things for Wednesday. We had allegation against police again, corruption. I ain't left in that pass like that. So let me bring you in for your closing remarks, my brother.
Okay, and just to add, seeing on the Cybercrime Act, the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, clearly for that, you mentioned about provoking breach of the peace. And I can remember the section clearly because I use it, section 141A, and there are several other BC along the line that you charge if you call a person name other than his own, but cybercrime, no. But police, they're taking too many instructions from politicians. And before they behave professionally. But then when you have somebody squatting is another story. And maybe on Wednesday I'm going to talk about those masqueraders who are masquerading as deputy commissioners or as acting deputy commissioners. So so much we could talk about, but let me close out for this morning, Paul.
Yeah, stay safe, my brother. You're right. I mean, I have the thing to talk about the masqueraders too, and if Nandlal wrote and we mentioned it, we see my end on with it because I can deal with it. Time has not been on my side, but I can deal with it. Look. Let me tell you this, as I have said repeatedly, I am not allowing these false statements to go unanswered. And when the facts are put there, all sensible persons, right? One more command just now, one of the cockroaches, the jagabat, the amphibian will say, it's we time. And that is the thing. He made it clear. It's we time. So it's we time we can do whatever we want to do. And the name that came on and said so tells you something. It's we time, right? That is the attitude. It's we time. It's ignorance time. In other words, that is what they mean. And you made the point about the Cybercrime Act being weaponized. The same thing they do with other pieces of legislation too. Weaponizing it. And when you get to court after all the months and years, that is what happened. Matter is dismissed because there is no evidence. Imagine these matters are dismissed. Let me explain to the students. These matters are dismissed at a no case submission stage. In other words, the prosecutor in this case, I understand, in the Sheriff Duncan's case, the prosecutor was a police legal advisor, Mandel Moore, I think it is his name. He presented the case. Having presented all the evidence, I suspect Giddens and all of these people have given evidence. Having presented all the evidence, Sharon's lawyers would have made a no-case submission. In other words, they're saying, look, based on the evidence that is presented, Your Worship, there is no case to answer. And the magistrate agrees with the defense. In this case, I think Magistrate Latchman. And again, I have to say, we got to shout out and big up and compliment these judges and magistrates who are willing to follow the law and give decisions based on the law. We have to do that because we know the perception is out there is that a lot of these people have been bought and they give decisions that are not in keeping with the law. So we have to always compliment these judges, compliment these magistrates. In many cases, policemen too who are doing the correct thing. Because I continue to say that the force has a lot of competent and uncorruptible police officers. People might not believe, but it is so. We have seen several cases where people find money, return money, bribes offered and all this type of thing, and the people who offer the bribe end up being charged. And the suspicion is that they are not as many as they should be. But we have these things. We have good people in the force. I will continue to say that. However, in some of these senior positions, you have people who are incompetent, people who are corrupt, and therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. And in closing, I would normally close by encouraging you to be safe. You get traffic situation to deal with. You get other issues, diseases to deal with, and all of that. I am closing today by saying that we should stand up for this nonsense with this Spanish word on the police vehicle, the Spanish word policer. We as Guyanese should rise up and demand that that thing be discontinued, removed, and discontinued. Guyana is an English-speaking country. And the fact that Venezuela has laid claim to the entire Essequibo, which is 2/3 of our country, and Venezuela is a Spanish-speaking country. Even though we have been very generous and accepting a lot of Venezuelans who are fleeing the country into Guyana, we can't carry this thing too far. Let me understand. We can't carry this thing. And I know too, not so long ago, the government made a decision, I think the president made an announcement that Spanish will be mandatory in the schools. Even so, to be placing the word police in Spanish on police vehicles is taking this thing too far. And I wait to see what the reaction from the public. People sit back and they wait, we want the politicians. And this is not for the politicians. Each and every one of us in our own little corner, in our own little way, must come out. You're calling on programs. If they get demonstration, you go and you demonstrate this nonsense. It must stop. It must be reversed. As I've said, I don't know if it's government policy. I don't know if the Ministry of Home Affairs sign off on this. I don't know if the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sign off on this. But at least the police sign off because they are the ones who would have caused it to be written on the side of the police vehicles. So, folks, we will see you again on Wednesday. God spare life, as you would say. See you again on Wednesday for another episode, the Wednesday episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Until then, stay safe and stay well. Bye.